And we're live.
Yeah, we're live. We're recording. Ian, what's up?
What's up, dude?
Where were you yesterday?
We just came back from Barcelona. We went there for a gaming convention, but apparently it was an iGaming convention, which one letter can make a huge difference on the valuation and the business. Can you explain to us why?
On the valuation of the business. I would say yesterday we were in Barcelona, not for the gaming convention because it ended a couple of days ago. Yesterday was our last day, and yesterday we almost missed our flight. I know we didn't, and it was very
Dude.
chill when we got there. But I woke up, look at the time, 9:45. I said, "Oh, great!" And then I look at the time of the flight, 11:20. I was like, "Oh shit, that's less than 2 hours to get up, wash, brush teeth, pack my things, get to the airport." So many things that needed to happen in an hour 45, but somehow, magically, it happened, and we got there even not early, but like 15 minutes before they started the boarding, and then the boarding like takes half an hour. So, yeah.
The funniest part is that I was awake from 7 a.m. I went down, had my coffee, had my breakfast. I was working on my computer. I didn't even check the time of the flight. I was just expecting Abed to wake up and deal with all the operations. Like this guy is the operation expert. Like this is the organized guy in the group. And I receive a call out of nowhere. He's like, dude, we're flying in less than 2 hours. And I'm like, okay, then come downstairs. Let's grab an Uber and go now. And then stressed until the point we realized we got it and we got our flight and came back. Now the question.
Yeah. Well, important
Go ahead.
comment on yesterday was that we didn't have boarding passes printed. I normally wouldn't be nervous. 2 hours before the flight is a good enough time for me to get to the airport and go straight to the gate. But the fact that we didn't have the boarding passes printed meant that we had to go to find the gate and things like that.
Well, shout out to Barcelona airport. Everything was so
Yeah.
smooth and we managed to come back in time.
What is the question?
The question is, do you want to explain to us what's the difference between gaming and iGaming?
Yeah, apparently iGaming is this beautiful, misleading term for gambling or online casinos. So the world of online betting and sports betting and things like that is masked under this term iGaming. And apparently somebody was telling us this at the convention. This makes a legal difference. So in some places where gambling or online gaming wouldn't be allowed or wouldn't be allowed without KYC, things like that, if you slap the iGaming term on it, it will be allowed. Obviously, it's more nuanced and complicated than that, but that's what they do. They do a lot of things like that. There was a little bit of esports going on because a lot of these betting companies were sponsoring esports teams and esports people to play. And an interesting thing that I found out was there's this house, esports house in London, where they had like 10 or 12 full-time employees or even more, 10 or 12 full-time employees at a time playing sports 24/7. Esports 24/7. So it's like, yeah, so like they have this room where people are playing FIFA, and another room they're playing 2K, another room. And so they stream that and sell it to these online betting companies and people on the online betting platforms. They like say, oh, I bet $10 on Eon. That's the Eon's gonna win this FIFA match.
And why?
And they just do this 24/7.
And why do they do this in one house where everyone is together? Because they need to have a referee and they need to control all the variables besides the game, which means that in order for this to be a legit gambling platform, they should have the same internet, the same bandwidth, the same PlayStation, everything, all the parameters should be stable and similar. And these two people should compete one against the other. And of course, this happens 24/7. So they are betting, people are betting 24/7 all around the clock from all over the world. These guys are based in a city outside of London, like nowhere, basically. And why, Abed, do they play FIFA and esports like FIFA and baseball and basketball and not other games that are more complicated?
Apparently, the people that um, do betting on these esports are the same people, or it's the same category of people that would do regular sports betting. So the person that would bet on a real football match, real like Champions League match, would be the same person to bet on these esports matches when the real matches are not going on. So I think it's quite interesting, and they say that the more advanced games like League of Legends and Apex Legends and these, they are too complicated for the average bettor to like
Exactly.
sit down and learn the rules. It's not like it's difficult, but it's like the friction is high. Like they don't want to learn how a game is played in order to bet. They just want to bet on something that they're familiar with. And obviously, playing FIFA is like there's one winner, one loser, or like it's a tie in and they do penalties and then there's one winner, one loser. Whereas League of Legends is like you have to sit through for so long to figure out.
So many things are happening. You should be an expert in the game. You should understand a lot of variables. While football, it's as simple as what's the score? Who's going to win? Everyone understand the rules, and everyone can bet against these rules. And having Real versus Barcelona, like the most famous El Clásico match, this can happen only a few times a year. While when you put these guys to play one against each other and you're a supporter of Real Madrid or this guy specifically that is playing the match, then you can bet so many times. So you can imagine how much does this scale on the betting side of things. These guys
The
are making a lot of money. That's the point here.
the good news is these guys, these gamers, can do a job where they can play 10 hours a day.
Yep.
The bad news is they can't do it remotely, which is what I was hoping for. I was like, oh, this is amazing for these gamers. They can just like sit at home and play. But when I learned what Ian explained later, that they're not allowed, they have to be at office. So like no one, like if somebody's playing, their kid doesn't walk in the room and distract them and they lose. And then
Dude, it's not an
the
office.
betters get angry.
It's a fucking dream house. Like, imagine you playing FIFA your whole life and suddenly people tell you, you go in this house, you do this nonstop, you make a lot of money, and you do what you love. So I'm not against that. And I'm also not against the fact that these guys make a lot of money. Because if you can grab the attention, you're going to make money in the attention. If you're not relevant or if you're not good, then you go home. They get fired. And the other thing that is very interesting is that these guys cannot have socials. They cannot be public figures,
No
that cannot
way.
be influencers. They cannot do any of this, not the players nor
Interesting.
the referees. Why? Because if you're able to find these people online, then you can manipulate the score. And for this reason, you should basically be a nobody in order to get the job.
Interesting. Well, it sounds like there's a lot of jobs for nobodies out there, but it's it's very interesting. I feel like I learned a little too much about the sports world or the esports world and well, not the esports world, the betting world on this trip. But hey,
Are we
it's
gonna
experiences
state
are
our
not.
position in betting and gambling, or do you want to keep it like what would you say it's your position against or opposed or for this industry in general?
I don't necessarily like it. I
This is gonna
don't
be online,
think.
Abed, just so you know.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think
Put the
it's enough.
pressure is on, baby. Let's fucking
Let's
go.
go. That's
Come
good.
on,
This is
dude.
gonna live on the internet forever, even after I
Wait.
pass. Um, see, it's not that difficult. It's like very clear to me. I think this is not a net positive thing for people. I think this is they have studied what people have evolved to do, and people really like adrenaline and the adrenaline rush of like putting their hard-earned money and like waiting to see what's gonna happen, and people like grouping up. It's like, oh, it's one thing to like support a sports team at winning, and it's another thing to have skin in the game and like put some of your money in supporting them. And people are very tribal, right? Like we want to belong. And if you take half of your weekly salary, throw it on a match, you're more involved than ever, right? It's not, you're not just going to be sad if they lose, you're going to lose money if they lose. And so people have a very basic need to belong. And this is a direct way of belonging. You don't need permission from anybody. You just throw your money at something and you're instantly connected. But I don't think a lot of that is good. I think this is something that you could easily get very addicted to. But I don't have a lot of experience with these things, so I don't know. But Poly Market is a very dangerous place to be, at least for me. I go on there every now and then, and I see those things that, even though I know I'm not the type of person to bet on things, I still was like, oh, that's really interesting. Should I put some money in there? Even though I know I wouldn't do this.
It feels like this is a transition you're making right now, because we already had a fight once while we were traveling about Polymarket. And do you want to explain in general what that platform is and how do you understand people reacting and why is this becoming a big thing for someone that doesn't know what is Polymarket?
Yeah, so Polymarket is what they call a predictions market. And personally, if you ask me, I just believe that's just a rebrand of a betting
and that's
platform.
where we that's where
we disagree. Fine. I just feel like, and I will explain what it is exactly in a second, but I just feel like they just took gambling, gave it a more intellectual, more curious, more like less gambly name, slapped it on there, and they're like, all right, okay, prediction markets. And now people are betting on what people are going to say in public talks. They're betting on how much Bitcoin is going to be worth by the end of the week. They're literally just betting on anything.
Are they betting or are they voting? Or is it the same thing?
It's not the same thing. I don't think it's the same thing. So
why is it the same thing?
How is it voting if I say Bitcoin is going to close at around 88,000?
Because that's what I believe. And there's a vote out there.
Yeah, but that's not voting.
Why not?
If the fact that you throw money at that, and if it's right or wrong, like you won't change anything.
When you're voting for an election, you're going to a place and you're throwing an envelope with a name, and you say that's what I believe is going to happen.
Correct.
And then something happens. It's exactly the same way, but instead of an envelope, you put your money. Which there's nothing wrong with that, right? In the first case, you put your time and your thoughts, and the next case, you put your money. And I believe that maybe also voting, maybe I'm just thinking out loud, should also have money involved in order to show how much committed you are on your vote. I'm just throwing out the ideas out there, or maybe not everyone should vote too.
That's a whole different discussion. We don't need to go there. One discussion at a time.
Yeah, okay, sure, go ahead.
So here's the thing. So the whole point of a democratic voting or democratic election is that, and this doesn't need to be about like government elections or presidential elections, right? Let's say we are part of a team. We're 8 people, and we need to decide who's going to be the leader of the logo is going to be, who's going to be the leader, something like that. So what do? We say, let's do a round of votes, and we all get one. If it was about money, maybe you have more money than everyone else, so your vote is has the most weight and the most value.
And what's
the point of voting is that what's wrong with that is that it's not voting then. It's not a democratic vote. It's not like everyone has one vote.
Pretty much how the world works, though, right? Like the more powerful you are, the more impact your vote has. Which I don't say it's still bad. And let's skip the voting, the political side of the conversation.
Yeah.
You understand why? Thank you. So because
no, but it's very interesting to go back to like Polymarket. I think that they are framing it like this is, you know, a predictions market. This is what the people believe, so they're putting their money where their beliefs are. And there's an element of truth to that, right? Because they predicted the presidential election of last
and
year.
many other
They're
things.
predicting the next one. It's I think that's a little bit dangerous though, because I feel like if you right now decide who you think the next president should be in any country, and there's 3 years for that election, and you put money now, let's say you put 50K on that bet, I feel like you would have a very hard time changing your mind based on what they did from now until the next years, because you've already decided that you want them to win by betting 50K. What if they do something that you don't agree with? You have too much money in that decision now. So I think that voting who should be in position of power shouldn't have any incentive, monetary incentive
For sure,
behind it.
for sure. And we don't say like on Polymarket, it's not like when you're betting your money, this is gonna be the result, because the money in
No,
the end is distributed back to the win. It's like, you know, it's going in and out of the market, and Polymarket also makes some, but it's not like whoever wins, they're gonna get the money, or whoever has more votes in, they're just trying to predict what's gonna happen and trying to bet on it with their money, which again, it can be dangerous. Betting is addicting, but people will bet either way.
people will continue to bet. Yeah.
Will
But
continue to
now
bet. So
this is like,
they better bet to who's gonna win the elections and get some stats over what people think, instead of them betting on fruits and vegetables, for God's sake.
so here's the thing. I feel like this is one of those things that people are going to bet on anything. What is better, to have less options or a lot more options? To make it mainstream and to make it you can bet about literally everything, or you can bet about sports and if your team's going to win or not. Like, is it better to expand the number of things that you can bet on or minimize them? And it's so far, it's been expanding. And Polymarket, Kalshi, and those things, those platforms, they recently started to get their licenses for being able to do presidential election bets and things like that, right? This was illegal until a couple of years ago.
Well, that's a good point. I think that legislation should follow the rules and should follow the industry and set up the rules for betting. And we can see that many countries already are doing that successfully. And that's who we met on our way to Barcelona, the legislators of Greece, that they were going there. And on the way back, they were telling us, everyone has to talk to us. And they went there because they had to do 15 meetings a day, because all the
Whoa.
betting companies in Greece, they have to go through them to do anything. So the government kind of has control of this. I don't know how corrupt it is or how on top of this it is, but it's not like it's a Wild West. I hope that there are people that are making sure this is happening on a safe environment. And overall, yeah, it was a cool trip in Barcelona. Many great people we met. Many great.
Too many flashing fruits and casino like things. And to wrap up the betting side of the conversation, I don't necessarily feel like it's a positive or flourishing environment. I definitely feel like there's an element of like they want something from you, and they're like flashing you with all these nice designs and nice welcoming things. And it's like, oh, bet here, oh, bet there. But that said, they are one of the most lucrative markets, right? Like I'd never seen in any conference the same setup, the same stages. Like each company had built like their own little Disneyland in there. which is crazy. I usually go to tech conferences and they set up these kiosks with screens and like demo stops. These people had set up like temples
Yep.
almost.
Like
Like
an amusement
there's this
park.
company. Exactly. There's this company that set up these like stairs that you go up to when the stairs were made out of screens and you're seeing these like flashy advertisements on the steps as you're going up. Remember
Do you
which one
want
I'm
to talk
talking
about the
about?
women?
Do we have to?
I can just mention it. I think that
Yeah.
it's all about attention, and whoever has the hottest girl in the kiosk and in the booth, that's where everyone will look like, because that's how the male brain works and the evolution. I guess I'm not an expert, but I guess so. It's another industry. So this is happening at the same time where the most beautiful women I've ever seen, they were all gathered to this conference, working with these companies and influencing and affiliating the casinos. So you could see them either working or moving around. Um, Attractive people have a place in this industry, which is also quite interesting to think about.
And that says a lot about how they themselves know that the product itself will not get you there, so they need to incentivize you in different ways, right? Like, oh, let's hire these models to run these online casino tables. Anyway, it's a big infrastructure, right? And it's one of the big industries that drive or drove the development of the internet like we know it now, right? Um, so yeah,
Dude,
so it was really
my
interesting to see.
my conclusion is betting is another tool. It's not good or bad. It can have a positive and a negative impact. Positive, for example, let's bet if tomorrow morning I'm gonna wake up and go to the gym, and there's an app for that. So it can incentivize people betting, and it can also harm them. That's my opinion. They can harm them because you can have a casino optimizing to get my grandmother's pension, and that's net negative for the society.
Mm.
It feels like it's mostly net negative right now. So there are not a lot of opportunities to bet for something good. But yeah, it's another tool. And
Another thing that you mentioned um, in during that conference, you told me that pretty much everything that we do has an element of betting. Like the job that you choose to work at, you're betting that this company is going to do well. The trip that you go on, do you're
the girl
betting
you
your money
decide to
on.
spend your life with, it's another way of betting, right? You bet
Yeah,
your
so
time.
there's certainly an element of gambling everywhere, but I think for me it's different to go on a trip without knowing 100% how it's going to turn out to be. But I know it'll be an experience, and I value experiences. So even if it doesn't go great, I don't think it'll be a waste of time or a waste of money. And the odds are that I'm going to have a good experience are very high, usually.
What's your point here?
My point is, it's not the like, yeah, there's an element of a bet every time you take on a new challenge, but if you lose, you still could, gain the lessons, gain like if you go on a trip and it turns out to be a bad trip, you come back with the experience, you come back with the lessons. Whereas if I bet my month-long salary on something, let's say I'm
Definitely.
exaggerating, if I lose, I lost. There's no lesson learned, I guess there.
There is a lesson there. I am
There is a
stupid. That's
lesson
the
too.
lesson.
Yeah, fair. Okay, so since last episode, there was a lot of things that happened. I mean, one of them was I'm going to share my screen. You picked up a new interest, obsession. I don't know what the right word is. I think interest.
Mhm.
And I have it right here. What's going on here, Ian?
Oh,
What is
dude.
this? What is Omachi?
Omachi. This guy.
This guy.
Um, that's the guy. That's the creator of DHH, the creator of Ruby on Rails. Who is DHH? What's Ruby on Rails? Long story short, like it's a tech geek. He's creating cool stuff, and he's trying to find ways to use the technology so that he democratizes it or makes it easier for the public to use hard things in an easier way. That's how I understand what he's doing and what's his passion. So that's what he did with Ruby. He saw a lot of potential there, and he created a framework, and now people use it everywhere. And that's what he's trying to do with Omachi. He said it's Omachi and not Omarchi. Some Danish, I don't understand. But basically, it's another operating system on top of the Linux kernel, Arch, probably. I'm not an
Mm-hmm.
expert in this as well. And what he's doing is that he's trying to make a operating system that looks as good or good as good as Mac OS. So hard to nail that. And also it's on top of Linux, and it's very, very efficient to use. That's just the overall summary and description of what that is. And of course, you have seen a lot of distributions of Linux, so you could say that's another one. I believe in this guy and what he can make, and I like his design skills, and he's quite talented. I've tried to install and try the operating system myself. There's a huge, very steep learning curve. You'll soon realize when you install it somewhere. But yeah, you can see how it looks. It's basically Windows all over the place. And the interesting thing is that
Windows, like Windows from Microsoft, or Windows
no,
like
no, this tiles
okay, the
window,
tiles.
like, yeah, you split
Uh,
your window basically to multiple sub windows, you could say. And
mm.
the interesting thing is that everything is happening with a keyboard. So basically, you don't need your mouse to do anything. And this can make you move so fast in your computer that people that have surpassed this learning curve, they say that they're flying. And yeah, I think it's very interesting.
Would you use it, Ian?
Dude, that's a very good question. Well, it's so hard to move away from a Macintosh computer. I am
Mm.
a big Apple fanboy, unfortunately, and I'll keep giving my money to
Tim
Stevie
Apple,
Steve, and to
Tim
Tim
Apple.
Apple, exactly, for the rest of my life, unless something groundbreaking happens. But yeah, I see a lot of potential here. I try to use it. Now, when I try to install it, I ran on a error first try. So imagine trying
Mm.
to install your operating system and then you have to debug immediately. I was like, oh, okay, let's give it another shot. And I tried again, and it worked.
Mm.
And then it was quite bad on the graphics card of my computer, and it was kind of
Oh,
flickering on the monitor. So I was like, great, okay, well, that's it. Let's do something else now. So yeah, but the
yeah, I see. I
community
see.
is very active. Discord is very active, so you can go and debug. It's not stable yet. It feels like, but again, I'm not an operating system expert, and that's
See.
it.
I feel like that's one of the things that makes it really hard to move away from Mac OS or whatever that you're used to already that works. Moving away, it's like moving apartments. You really don't want to do it unless like you're really excited about doing it. And the setup not working, that's like you never have that with Mac, right? With Mac, you just get the laptop or whatever it is, you turn it
It
on,
just works,
and
right?
everything is set up for you basically. And then unless you're like really interested in doing those things, like DHH, he's so interested that he's not like just a super user interested in Linux. He's so interested that he would go on to add his own thoughts and ideas,
Mm.
right? And I feel
Well,
like this says a lot about the level of users. Like he's
Dude,
definitely a super user.
dude, this guy is very opinionated, and if you see,
Mm.
and if you install the operating system, you'll see he has made a lot of decisions beforehand. So he's giving you all
Mm.
the software that you're supposed to use, and all the note takers and Spotify, and everything is pre-installed in the operating system. So, oh my God, that's interesting. So you're starting from somewhere that he believes is good. Same thing with
Mm.
macOS, but then you're free to go as deep as you want and make changes. Where on macOS, that's not the case. If you want a different file explorer, good luck. And
Yeah. I
yeah,
see.
yeah. So that's the thing. There's a lot
It's
of
it,
potential in that, dude. I really think that I love the idea. I just don't think it's there yet.
it seems that he has enough distribution. Well, he definitely does because he's a sort of a legend in the space, right? A lot of developers would know of him and his projects, and so it seems like a lot of people are trying it out. So that's really cool. Okay. All right, moving on to the next topic. My version of Omachi has nothing to do with tech, or maybe a little bit of tech.
Let's go.
I, for the first time, tried to make Brian Johnson's nutty pudding a couple of weekends ago, and it turned out to be really good. Those are frozen strawberries there. I got myself a blender, and yeah, I never thought I'd be so excited to have a blender, but eating this for a full month when we were at network school, which we haven't talked about on this podcast, the whole network school experience, um, made got me really into it, and yeah, now I make it from time to time.
How's the taste?
Taste is like you're tasting something that's really healthy, which is crazy. And then another thing that I never thought I would like, but in the recipe video, Brian Johnson says he prefers it that way, and I tried it, and that is to put the protein powder not inside, like not to mix it, but put it on top, like put a spoonful on top. And I was like, eating protein powder raw as powder would be really disgusting. But let me try. And I tried, and it was actually not that bad. I really liked scooping a little bit of protein powder, a little bit of the pudding, and eating it together. And I think that's my favorite taste. That's my favorite way to taste protein. And this is strawberry flavor pea protein.
Can you meal
For
prep once and have this for the whole month in the refrigerator, or is it supposed to be fresh?
I think full month is a lot of time because you're putting in there pomegranate juice, berries, and things like that. But I also think that this is not one of those things that like takes a lot of effort. Like if you see the ingredients are either freezer ingredients or pantry ingredients. So just you can mix them. I think a month is a long time because I don't want to be freezing this and defreezing it when I eat it. But I think you could do for a week. You can prep for a week, no problem.
Should I
And
throw an
then
idea out and you tell me what do you think? Well, finish first,
yeah,
sir.
and then I've seen um our very good friend Stefan. What he does is he does the dry mixture. So he
Mhm.
puts all the dry ingredients together in portion sizes and then he just blends them. So he does the prep, but before the blending, which is also a great way to do it if you want to do prep. But for me, I know I have these in the freezer. I know I have those in the pantry. And so whenever I want, I have like an hour or like half an hour. I can make for the whole week.
What I would love to try is to
Mm-hmm.
make this as an ice cream, meaning you can take
Oh,
like the plastic from the yogurt, the small yogurt thingies,
the
put
plastic.
them like the
Oh,
plastic, put the mix in the plastic of the yogurt and put a
ah,
stick, a wooden stick inside and let it
okay.
freeze. When you take it out and remove the plastic, you have like a ice cream on a stick,
Mm,
and I think that would be so nice during summer, and it's
yeah,
also super
definitely.
healthy, you know?
I think it would be better to do ice cream and eat it with a spoon, just because I don't know how well it would hold up on the stick. Um, because I
spoon.
think it will freeze like a lot, and you're gonna want to let it defrost before you can start eating it. But yeah, I think it would be a great idea. And I know you like ice cream a lot, or recently making ice cream. Okay, so that's it with the new obsessions. Moving on to the next thing.
Unfortunately, Brian Johnson didn't reply and repost your
That's all right. He will one day. He will one day.
one
He's
day.
busy. He's busy conquering death right now. All right. Okay. So the next thing that I want to talk about is something that we talked about in the last episode, in the first episode, and a lot of people seem to like it, and I also
Oh my
noticed a lot of
God,
people
is it?
liking it in person as
It
well.
is what I think it is.
It is exactly what you think it
Oh
is.
my God.
So last
There we
episode we
go.
talked about
Louis
the life
Abed is
calendar.
in love with you, dude. Just reach out. He's selling your product non-stop across the whole world. I've never seen him being so excited with the technology. And yeah, you guys should work together. Yeah, go on.
Exactly what he said. So this came out. People are loving it. 600,000 views, and then there's two questions that people had. Does this work on Android? And Louis just vibe code shipped the Android version. So for those of you that want to get this working on Android, you can do it on Android. And then he made a new calendar. So we used to have life calendar, and then he had the yearly calendar. Now there's the goal calendar that you could say, I want to run the New York City Marathon. You have 60 days left to train. I just wanted to give a shout out and talk about those new things because I know that a lot of people are interested in this. I helped so many people install the life calendar on either like online or in person. You saw in Barcelona. We met some new friends and we installed it on all of them. So go crazy. There's 2 new calendars now.
So you've been using this now for how long?
I've been using it since it came out, so a little less than a month.
So
No, maybe since early last year. Yeah, early last year.
let's say a month. Let's say you're
No,
using
sorry,
it for a month.
late last year.
Dude, let's say just it's been a month. What
Yeah,
do you think has changed? How do you think it's impacting your life? What do you think is different now?
I just like from time to time, not necessarily every day, because I usually just go by not noticing it, even though it is on my screensaver. But it is a very like your screensaver is probably the thing that you see the most. I think the image that you see the most, and in fact, proof to that is that the original Microsoft grass hill picture was the most viewed picture in the whole world at some point. You know which one I'm talking about? The
No, that's
green
fantastic.
Microsoft
Yeah, for
field.
sure.
Yeah, so like that was like the most viewed picture in the world or something like that. And then yeah, like your screensaver is really, really what you see every day. And then from like day to day or like every other day, I look at it and I was like, oh, the week is moving. I could see it because it shows you like the week, the active week. And it reminds me I need to do something with my life. I need to, like I need to experience things, travel. Like life is definitely not infinite. And it's sometimes hard to remember that. It's
It
sometimes
would
hard
be
to remember that I've lived, 20, 30, or 28% of my life.
it would be very
Yeah.
nice to somehow measure what's the impact of this actually in your life and how you take decisions and how it's impacting you subconsciously. I think that having this on your main screen at some point it becomes like a subconscious message and it's not in your consciousness. Like you look at it and say, oh my God, I don't have a lot of time. But something
Mm-hmm.
is happening in your brain probably. We
Mm-hmm.
don't have the data. It would be very cool to collect those that might change your behavior, might change your decision making. And
Mm.
I'm trying to really observe you and see if you make any decisions in a different way. And apparently, you're just vibe decision making. Either way, like your whole life. So yeah. And
Interesting.
it's hard to put you to the test, because you're already YOLOing that life nonstop.
So, so,
So
so I think it's really hard to do measurements like that, or at least for me, because I'm not a measurements kind of guy, or I'm not the type of person that would input, tracking data manually. But this guy, James Clear, Atomic Habits, he talks a lot about making little small changes that will improve your life in the long run, that will compound in the very long
Example?
run. And I feel like this is one of those things that would, if I see it enough, if I just see it enough, it will make me change my behavior.
I have some people.
Example,
I have some people. Before you say the example,
yeah,
that work in consulting companies, big ones.
uh
These people are the one that need the calendar the most. Go on. Shout
huh.
out to
Hey,
some of my
whatever works for
friends.
everybody. Some people
Today's
need to do that
subject.
job, man. Some people do
What?
need to do that job for a while. But I
Got
hear
it.
you. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Example is example is from this book in the opening part in the intro. He says that the British cycling team had never like won or had not won in like 20 years, and their reputation was so bad that the bicycle companies were refusing to sell them bicycles because they were like, we don't want our brand to be associated with a losing team. So they brought somebody who's really into attention to detail, and he started fixing like little things, like making sure that the bicycle seats were custom made for the cyclist. He like made sure that the pillowcases and the pillows that they were using were like of good quality. And he started making all these like really small changes. And then within like a year, their goal was to win. They won 5 times. Something like that. Some like crazy stories of how little things that you do will compound into. And if you think about it, if you're sleeping on a good mattress, that like impacts your
Dude,
entire day.
for sure.
Things like that. Anyway, moving on from the life calendar,
For
I
sure.
wanted to talk
That's
about it
sorry.
for like
That's very
20
funny
seconds.
because I just realized that's very funny. I meet a lot of
Yeah.
people, me included.
Yeah.
They're trying to optimize, like, oh, how many grams of protein did I have today? Oh, damn, I skipped my creatine dosage, and so on and so
Mm-hmm.
forth. And this guy are sleeping 3 hours a day, and these guys like are just don't have like a regular, strict sleeping schedule. They sleep random hours. These guys are drinking alcohol. So there are some people that are trying to optimize very small things, but forget about the basics, right? So you should
That's
you should
very
also
true. And
prioritize.
that's very true. And this is something to not take for granted for a long time. I think not sleeping well over a long period of time will compound negatively. So, do keep that in mind. I think sleep for me is number one non-negotiable. Because if I hadn't had a good sleep, no matter how good the next day is materially or like externally, I cannot process it. I cannot enjoy it. I'm a
Good
big
sleep,
sleep guy. I
good
am
sleep,
very big on sleep. Yeah, so super good sleep.
good sleep,
All
good
right,
sex,
okay.
good food, and everything else
The
you'll figure
basics,
it out.
bro.
Let's go.
The basics. All right. Moving on to another big tech news that happened in the last couple of weeks. And it is, I think, a very interesting story. And it's um, at the center of this story is the founder of this library for developers called Tailwind. And the headline is Tailwind lays off 75% of their team.
What is
And
Tailwind?
I think of their engineering team. So Tailwind is this styling library. So a library that makes things look beautiful on the internet. It's a web development tool, and it is currently the single most popular design tool or design tool for coders out there. And in fact, ever since AI became a thing, because it was really popular in the 2020s, 2021 or 2019, around that era, it was the most popular styling tool on top of CSS, which is an internet styling protocol or a language. Tailwind became part of how language models ChatGPT or like GPT and Claude and things like that. This is how they also write their web application. So if you ever use any vibe coding tool like Lovable and any one of those, they are all by default using Tailwind because it happened to be the best styling library when they were being trained. And what's interesting is that Tailwind went from the most popular to maybe like quadruple their downloads when making apps with AI became a mainstream thing, right? Because in the past, making apps was a developer thing mostly, and now making apps has become an average person thing, right? You go to ChatGPT and you can ask it to build you something, it'll start making it in code, and it will download Tailwind in the background to do the styling because that's the simplest, cleanest way to do it. And what happened here is that Tailwind went from being the most popular to quadrupling in downloads, but nobody's visiting the Tailwind website. So nobody is seeing the Tailwind ads to buy any of their products. And by ads, I don't mean like paid ads, but when we developers used to go to the Tailwind documentation to read how to do things, they would tell you, hey, by the way, we've built these things on top of Tailwind. If you want to buy, like here's a 20% discount or whatever. And a lot of people would buy those things because instead of me spending time to develop an app with Tailwind, I'll just buy like a dashboard ready-made by them, $50 or $100, things like that. I have used the paid components that they design and develop and sell, and they're amazing. But now with AI, nobody really needs to pay for those anymore. You could just ask AI with a picture to make you the same.
It's not the problem that people are using the library and they're not going to the website. It's that the paid feature is irrelevant now.
That's right. It's irrelevant, and it's also nobody's seeing it because in the past, it used to be you go to the documentation, you see that if you pay a little bit, you can get your job done and move on to another thing. Nowadays, nobody's even going to the documentation, so no visits
so what's
to their
the story
documentation. The story is that this library became 4 times as big, but the revenue was down 80%, and they had to lay off 75% of their team. By the way, how many people you think that is?
I was just about to search that. I don't even understand why there should be a team behind this library. I would say 5. Honestly, I don't know what's going to happen behind the scenes, but yeah.
Yeah, 75% sounds like a big percentage. 75% sounds like a big percentage, but that's 3 engineers. So they were 4.
This is the magic
founder.
Of storytelling. We lost definitely 75% of the team with 3 people. Okay, cool.
I mean, it is sad, because you might be friends with these people, but you don't have enough money to pay them.
Yeah, but they built like something so popular, it's not going to be so hard for them to find a job. Anyway.
That is very true. These are some of the most employable people on earth, right? Because their tool is literally the most popular right now. So this story came out when somebody was asking them to do LLM endpoints so that LLMs can pull documentation off of Tailwind, like LLM optimized documentation. And the founder replies and says, this is not in our priorities because right now I need to figure out how to keep the business alive. And people have started going crazy. Like people are like, oh, I'm so disappointed in your answer. This is the lengthy answer. And people are like, I've been a supporter of this library for so long, but this is really disappointing. I've paid, this is not what I wanted to see. Things like that. And then this guy, Adam, you spoke of storytelling before, did a walk talk. He went out, started recording himself walking in Canada. And for 33 minutes, he's telling the story of how Tailwind has become really popular, but amongst AI users, not amongst developers, not amongst paying users. So they've lost the revenue. So he drops this. Balaji responds or retweets and says one of the big AI companies should consider acquiring Tailwind or do a strategic investment and maybe rehire all the devs. They've given the ecosystem so much, which is very true. And then guess what happens after?
They closed down.
Balaji's right. Balaji's right. This thing goes viral. Everybody's like, hey, Vercel, you should sponsor. Everybody's tagging Vercel. Everybody's like tagging these AI tools that use Tailwind, Replit, and so on. Replit then goes on to get sponsored from all these companies that benefit from Tailwind, but never sponsored them. So you have Bolt, you have Clerk, you have V0, you have Cursor. You have so many companies now sponsoring Google, Vercel. Vercel sponsored twice through V0 and through Vercel. And so this goes to say that this authentic, direct to the public communication is so strong, especially if you've built something that is really good. What do you think?
I don't think it's only about the story and the fact that he recorded a morning walk and yap, but also because like the community of developers and of open source solutions is so important, and all the tools that we're using behind the scenes, we're just using the work of people that have open sourced all these small packages that we find inside node modules. So this is the whole foundation of every other software we are using, and now we're able to move this fast and to build so much just because these people contributed. And to that respect, now Vercel wouldn't be Vercel if they were not using open source, and they know that, right? And the same goes for every other company. So it makes a lot of sense for these people to support and back the contributors of these libraries, because if you think about it the other way, if they don't and they close down the libraries, they have to support and maintain them themselves. And business-wise, that's not very profitable and very in their interest.
Yeah, and Vercel knows that very well because they themselves have an open source tool, Next.js, and they sponsoring a lot of other open source tools like ShadCN and things like that. So I think this is amazing fundraising. I think this is an amazing way to get supporters. The man was just really brutally honest. He say, I don't know what to do. This is what's going on. We have this problem. And it was interesting that the tool that AI is used the most was struggling to have revenue. And so good thing that those AI first tools that use it stepped up and paid them. And it's another thing that I found out through researching this whole story is that is why AI generated apps, AI slop apps look the way they do, which I found to be quite interesting. So somebody complaining that GPT-5 didn't solve the purple problem. And if you're familiar with the purple problem,
no,
is when you ask any LLM to make a website, it's by default purple. It's by default this like
purple gradient,
specific purple gradient. They call it indigo. This is the color name. And it's like, you can tell if you've been around the web development era or space, you know that this has been made by AI because it uses emojis. It uses this like specific, very specific style. And it reminds me a little bit of the M dash problem that Sam talked about what, like some months ago. Small but happy win if you tell ChatGPT not to use M dashes. M dashes is this like the double dash, the long dash that ChatGPT is infamous for. So you ask something to ChatGPT, it like fills the response with M dashes. Somebody here is making fun of OpenAI. And I found out that Adam decided to do the default Tailwind configuration purple. And so when LLMs were trained, they went through the documentation of Tailwind, and the default example was background indigo 500. And he says here, I'd like to formally apologize for making every button in Tailwind UI bingo indigo 500 5 years ago, leading to every AI-generated UI on Earth also being indigo.
Well, Abed,
so yeah,
there's nothing wrong with it.
Solved.
There's nothing. That's a very cool story. There's nothing wrong with indigo, I would say. any color that would be the default, you AI would learn and use it everywhere. So that makes a lot of sense. Now, I think there's a lot of improvement, especially lately, on how you can move away from this slop UI design. They're putting a lot of effort and a lot of um, work on the front end design skills of the coding agents. And yeah, recently, I don't think you have something, a link for that, but recently they announced the skills for coding agents where you put this whole documentation on how to better design and what are the best practices for different skills, for example, design or Expo, React, whatever you're using. So you're making your agent an expert on that field. And so it doesn't make all these very scrappy implementations. And so I think that we're moving towards a day where you will one shot a very good looking website through the coding agent. And yeah, I've also realized that people don't real and understand and don't know how to use that lately, but soon we're moving towards a web where it's going to look beautiful without a lot
Okay,
of it.
this is I think this is good news, and I think this is like the natural iteration of like, all right, we've built this amazing tool that can make things. Now, how can we make those things unique, have style, have UI and user experience, thoughtfulness, all those things. And it is a good segue to the next thing that I wanted to show you that I found out on Product Hunt that I really liked,
Okay.
which is a design prompt library.
Who built that?
This is made by Chris
Please.
Messina. So shout out to Chris. Oh, he's also affiliated with Raycast, by the way, which we love. And I think this is a very useful thing. So let's go on their website real quick. And so basically here you have, let's go to the prompt library. You have a list of design languages, design styles, and then you could, for example, this one here. You can see how the fonts and colors and pictures
Ooh.
all like work together. And so you could take this style. I really like this one, the orange black. And you can make some tweaks to the prompt, and you could try to make a website
So
that is more
how can you make
unique.
that? Like, how does that work exactly? You get a prompt and you paste it to your coding
Yeah,
agent.
so let's see. So copy full prompt or try out, try prompt. What does it
Sign
say here?
in. You need to
Please
sign.
sign in. Okay, so I guess you sign in, but what I am interested in is to have the full prompt of this, and then I can go to like my chat of choice, go code, and give it this prompt.
And it will create
Um,
exactly what I see here or something similar. What do you think?
I think it'll be similar. I don't know if it'll be pixel perfect, but I would like actually to see what
Because
the.
it actually depends on how, like, what coding agent you're using and what model and,
That's very true.
different
That is very
environment.
true. But I would like to see what the prompt is like. Oh, the prompt is the actual code. This is a reference implementation of Kinetic Orange style. And then you get an HTML page. And then do we have any instructions? Instruction is that simple.
Yep. You don't need
Please
much.
use the above as reference and apply to our context. Okay, so do you want to try this with V0
Sure.
real quick to see?
What do you want to make?
All right, let's do it. New project. Let's just make
Let's
a
do
like a
let,
landing page.
let's do the landing page of Ion and Abed.
All right, okay. Ion Abed website. Should we go with the orange?
Yeah, just leave it
Site.
as it is and give it more to context about like us
Yeah.
making a podcast, TBBM on a budget, etc.
One thing I just noticed that V0 is quite slow, actually. All right, okay, so. Oh, interesting. Ask a follow-up question. Okay, use.
I love
This
how they make a
as
file and they're not bloating the prompt inputs.
let me zoom in for you. Use this as a ref for a landing page for a new podcast. Podcast hosts Ian Abed. Podcast name. Ian. Let's see. God damn you. Oh, I don't have credits.
What do you mean you
I
don't
don't
have
think I want
credit?
to upgrade. I don't know. Maybe I've
How
used
many
all of them.
times have you tried it, dude?
I have tried V0 quite a few times, but I have an idea. Let's go to Gemini.
We can also. Oh my god, not Gemini, bro. Are you serious right now?
What do you want?
That's
Where do you
gonna
want
be
to go?
so funny. No, let's do Gemini. Let's do Gemini. It's gonna be funny, please. Let's do it.
Do you have a better suggestion?
I would say I would do lovable, but yeah, let's do Gemini.
All right, let's do both. Okay, so let me do this.
All right, go Gemini, go. So funny.
All right, it's doing something.
Is it gonna make the actual app, or is it gonna give us the code?
It's a good question. I think we can preview. What does Canvas do?
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the biggest company in the world where Abed is investing all of his money. He's asking the product to make an app
to a website.
And to use a style, and it just generated.
It just gave me the text back. All right, okay, so it is doing it now.
Specifically say that you want an app.
Exactly. You have to be a little bit more specific, Ian. Come on.
Like, your friend is not.
I want to see how off base it's going to be.
It's fine. It will get there. It will get there with time.
It's an LLM on a budget, okay?
At least it's cheap. It's good for development until you go production. Should be a bit patient most of the time. Yeah.
You have to be patient. Okay. All right. Ooh.
Let's go.
It's not that bad.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby.
Can I go big? Catalog. I'd say that's quite close to the original.
It's clean. I love.
Share. Wait, can I share? Oh, I cannot share.
You didn't click. You didn't click the right button.
Ah.
You share a link.
All right. Okay. Let's continue. No way. Let's go. That's not bad, Ian. Come on.
Not bad at all.
Spotify, Apple, YouTube. That's not bad.
That. Need some tweaking.
This doesn't work. Hey, at least the buttons here work. See, so this is I would like another button here, but this is like better than
I love the prompt
the generic.
It works, and it's very
it does
good.
Work. So, thank you and shout out to Chris. I think this is a needed project.
Let's see some other templates. What else looks good?
Vibit designed it. All right, okay, so let's go here. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in for you.
Just remove this. The first one.
It's an ad.
Very bad. No.
Why do you think this is an ad?
I said it's bad.
I thought you said it's an ad. Sorry.
This is better.
This is a little bit better, yeah. Minimalist beta capture.
Nice. This doesn't look AI generated, and that's
definitely
what I
not. This has a little bit of like design style in it, and this is what's good about these like design templates. Like somebody actually put in hours, put in some research, and decided that this
font you just take it and use it.
Font go well together.
Like what are the copyrights?
We just did that.
You can go in production with this without.
Yeah, I think it's an open source library. Let's see. Community driven design prompt library.
And you can build and share your own design prompts. So in the future, this could also be like monetized, and
I think it's already monetized. because I can, like here where it says try prompt, the first thing is I have to log in and I have a couple of credits for free.
Okay.
But then,
But I mean, he could also create a marketplace with designers that
true.
design their own stuff and get hired, just like Dribble.
This is quite nice, actually. I like this. Yeah, true. People could start selling design prompts. And if you, like, what's cool about this, he didn't give you the prompt like a description of the site. He gave you the HTML of the site so that the model can actually like replicate to the pixel what you have.
You know what I find here as a big opportunity, since you have all this power in your hands, you can go to the small and medium businesses that have a very
Mm-hmm.
bad looking website. You can grab their content of their website and also
Mm-hmm.
grab the design of something like this.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Ask the
wow.
agent to reproduce.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. And neomorphism, that never landed though. It's bad. Um, and yeah, just send it to them. No effort. Maybe automate, and suddenly we're back on building websites that look good this time and perform well. And you can make a lot of money through that, don't you think?
Yeah, I definitely see this being valuable to businesses that don't have the time to make a nice looking website.
But businesses don't
And
know how to use the coding agents. I mean, someone else should do that for them.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Like it is true that coding is more accessible than ever, but it's not like you don't need to put in effort and time and iterate so many times until you can put something
And also,
of
Abed,
taste out.
if you,
And this makes it so possible.
I've I've talked to people that are not technical about the coding agents. It's
Yeah.
still very scary for them to go on the terminal and start like
Mm.
typing down things and looking. It's accessible, I get it. Lovable, can now you can one shot things, but it will take some time, and there is a lot of learning, and people just don't are scared by coding in general, and it will take some time for them to get used to it. So that's why I'm saying there's a lot of potential with people that understand the code to now
Mm.
and build those things and start teaching people how to use them also.
And build things that you're kind of like proud of how they look, because I think that is quite important, right? Like
Yep.
it's an important confidence boost that what you're building, you
You know
know
what's
that it
important?
is.
You know what's important?
Yeah, what is important?
You're important, dude.
Let's go. I think you've been taking notes. I think you're learning.
Yep.
B2B
So we just
traits.
hit
All
one
right.
hour. How do you think that's, first of all, I love this. We should do this more regularly and not just try and find the perfect circumstances. I hope this time, guys, the sound was better. Sorry for us yapping again for so long and most of the time not make any sense. We touched some very, very interesting points. I think it's at least interesting to us, and that's why we're gonna keep doing it until end of year. That's episode number 2. That was Abed
Let's
Hamami,
go.
the one and only, the most important guy in my life.
Let's
And I'm so, look at him smiling and looking good. And I'm very glad we're doing this because that's our
go.
brain downloading all this information and putting it out there. First of all, because we want to share this information with you. And second of all, because it's like a portfolio of knowledge for us. Imagine down 1 year, if we look back to all this information, it's gonna be our life and our learning documented. So I find a lot of value in that. I found a lot of value in this guy from Syria. And till next time, that was Abed. This is Ion.
Let's
Abed, any
go.
closing thoughts?
No, I think you're really on point. I would really like to look back a year from now and see all the highlights of all the things that we've talked about, because that's such a good way to say we're committing to talk about the things that we find interesting. And there's 52 weeks in a year. I see that every day when I go on my phone. I see this line of
Of course
52
you do. Of
dots.
course you do.
And I would love to have a way to go back and say, okay, what was the highlight of each single week? And I would like to continue doing this weekly. So do expect us
And also,
weekly-ish.
Abed, it's the perfect time for us to do this because it's the time where we have a tool in our hands where we can compress all this information we're generating right now and
Uh-huh.
get the insights and get the highlights and get the short videos and the learning points. You wouldn't be able to do this like 5 years before, 5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
There was not even a Riverside then. So at some point, we'll also have to give a shout out to this tool we're using. Shout out to Riverside. These guys have built something amazing. And yeah, that's
All
it from
right.
my side.
Let's wrap it up because I have to go on my run in 15 minutes. I will
Love it.
talk more about the running club in another episode.
Oh, dude, the
Um,
running club. Nice.
Pizza runs, but we'll talk about them in another episode. And until then, you guys stay safe and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Ciao.